Hi guys, this is Mike from the last Corvette. I want to do a short little video. I actually had a pretty decent video ready, and it was uploading, and for whatever reason, it didn't go through. It didn't upload 2 days later. And since I'm using my iPhone, I got iPhone 11, I accidentally deleted the video thinking it was already uploaded. Well, I'm just starting out, so maybe I'll invest into a GoPro and start storing these videos, archiving these videos, not just on YouTube, but also on my phone or a hard drive, storage device. So that video was about, hey, the bumper, the quarter panel, the lights, everything is in, everything is bolted in, gapped, spaced. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two separate things in one video. So I'm going to show you guys what I did with the rear bumper, the fender, I'm sorry, the quarter panel, and also the head unit. So I've been showing you guys the head unit. So the head unit is about 75% done. I got the head unit in, comes on, powers up. I ran the backup camera. I ran the wires today for the front camera. And mind you, I haven't had time to really work on it. I mean, something like that, if you're working by yourself from experience, a full-on install like that, where you got a head unit, two cameras, and I'm jumping into a C6. The rears I've done. The fronts I've never done, so I've never routed a wire from the front over to the passenger compartment. But regardless, it's really all the same. So usually it takes about around 4 hours. 4 hours. I mean, that's why you buy interfaces. They're plug and play, so you save time. So you're not sitting there trying to figure out, looking at schematics. Really quick. So next video is going to have. Hey, this is what I did to set the bumper and a quarter panel. I'm going to show you guys what GM uses. Also, what happens to your plastic panels like mine, when they sit at a paint shop for, so you bring them in, they sit, then they paint, and they sit. They get distorted. So when you put them on, there's a certain way you need to bolt everything back up, and then you got to space them. You got to add spacers, which I had to do. So really quick, that's coming up. So it's going to be one long video, but it's going to be it's going to have a lot of info for you guys. And the head unit, like I said, what I found out is two things. So on the interface in my last video, and I'm going to touch on it again in the next video, but the interface had a backup signal wire, which right away I thought to myself, well, these C6s never came with a backup camera. It would only make sense or only work on a GM vehicle that was either wired or had a option for a backup camera, which they do a lot of Silverados when they first came out. The harness was already there. Everything was already there behind the dash for your video and for your reverse signal and everything else. Not on the C6, so I had to tap a wire from the BCM. And like I said, I'm gonna tighten everything up, put the center console back together, because that's been beaten. I don't know how many times on YouTube, but what I haven't seen is the actual proper way to run the wires. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys the rear camera. I'm going to show you guys the front camera. It's not a right or a wrong. You can choose, or you can do your own way. I also mounted the mic. The mic is already mounted. It ended up going on an A-pillar. Normal position where we used to put it in a car back in the day for your Bluetooth. But the issue with that is it is a target top, so when you remove, you're probably going to pick up some of that noise. But hey, I'm going to tell you why I had to put it there. So, it comes with a clip. I tried to put it on the headliner right next to the mirror, rear view mirror, and I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes the most expensive vehicles are the cheapest. everything is paper thin, or everything is just like falling apart. And mind you, my Corvette is not, I mean, it's old, but it's not that old. We're not talking about a, 90s or early 2000s or even a mid 2000s Corvette. Uh, you know, and it's just, so anyway, so I ended up going on the A pillar, and I just routed the wire down the A pillar over the footwell. And then the passenger side footwell has your reverse light signal wire in there, and then now your camera RCA going through the side of the vehicle and then out through the trim, which would be the passenger side A pillar, and then across to where the head unit is. And trust me, it's adding up. And now I have to buy another module. And the reason is, so the NEX that I purchased, mind you, it's a non nav unit. Pioneer, and I knew about this, but Pioneer, a few years back, they switched to a style where Kenwood is still the old school way. Anyway, long story short is they said, hey, you can't use this function, this function, or this function unless you're got your e-brake on. And all that was is you would just ground out your wire and that you be it. I didn't care about that because I really don't need to bypass anything. Unfortunately, I overlooked one main function, and or I should say option. I thought that the NEX, just like the NAVs, have two dedicated camera inputs, one for the front, one for the rear. Well, guess what? This NEX only has a dedicated spot for the backup camera, meaning the backup camera comes on when it's triggered by your reverse signal. Problem is, I don't have a dedicated second camera or a front camera input. So I got to use, well, actually, I only have one other option. It's a video in auxiliary, right? So that is considered to be, you could have a game console or whatever, right? So now that is protected. There's no way around it. I have to buy a little brake bypass module, which is like $12. Like I said, I'll get into all that good stuff. So whoever does it with my interface, and it's for Bose or non-Bose, everything will work. Everything will sound great. And I'm going to tell you something. The sound system, the head unit, and the stock sound system. My speakers aren't blowing in that Corvette, thank God. But it sounds a lot better than with the stock. Trust me. And so moving on. Next video is going to be. I'm going to, hopefully during the day, so you guys can see, I'm going to show you guys the ascent of the vehicle. I'm going to show you guys what I did. At the same time, I'm going to show you the actual, how I, excuse me, how I routed the wires, show you the front, show you where I mounted the camera. I think it's pretty slick. And everything is stealth. One thing I'm going to tell you, though, is I'm not really, let me just tell you. So the camera looks OEM, my backup camera. I love where I mounted the camera, how I mounted the camera, but it is a little bit too low. And I'll show you guys in the next video. It's still fine, but it's a little bit too low. It is what it is, but at least you can see, when you're backing up, you can still see everything clearly, so that's good. But yeah, so I'll show you guys the head unit, all the options, the CarPlay portion of it, the nav. We'll play some music. I'll kind of function through the front, the rear camera, and just explain everything. And then the last thing that I'll do is I'll button up all the wiring that I'm going to leave out for you guys for the next video in the engine compartment, and as well in the footwells and in the trunk. And that way everybody can see how it's routed. I don't want to, I don't want to hide anything or just say, oh, it's done. I just want everybody to see if you have a C6, C7, C5, they're all the same. The only difference is your C7s already have, your nice little touchscreen nav or CarPlay in them. But the C5s and C6s for sure. So few lessons learned. Like I said, I haven't been, I don't install on a regular basis. So a few lessons learned with this vehicle, and I will catch you guys later. So I'm going to post this video today. Today's Monday, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll be done with the wiring portion of it, and I'll probably start putting everything back together, because the biggest thing for me is once I'm done and I check everything that it all works, I'm going to start to kind of assemble all the wire noodles, as I call them, in the back behind. There's not a lot of room there. I mean, you have your side pockets there, and that's where the interface is going to go, and your little box that has the chime and everything else. But I'm going to fix all that, clean all that up, shove everything back in, and then screw the center console back together. And then, so probably today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I should have a video for you guys. And I believe it's going to be, it's going to have a lot of good information in it for your C6 owners. There's a lot of them out there. And, this doesn't have to be a Pioneer. It can be a Kenwood or Alpine. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. And we'll just keep on plugging away with this vehicle.